Welcome back to Coach's Corner Episode 3. This is the series where we get on the best MMA minds and coaches to break down the biggest upcoming UFC fights. If you don't want to see our big faces and you prefer the audio-only version, you can get us now on Spotify as well, so make sure and go and check them out. This weekend, Ian Garry headlines a thrilling main event in Kansas City against Carlos "The Nightmare" Prates, and I thought no one better to get on to break this fight down than one of the best coaches in the country right now. Coming out of one of the best gyms in the country right now, it's Fight Academy Ireland's head coach, Shannon, aka Shando. What's the crack, my man? Thank you very much for coming on.
It's all good, thank you, bro. My pleasure.
No problem. Before we get stuck in the Kansas City's main event, I want to ask you, a couple of big weeks for FAI coming up here. Of course, Cage Warriors Dublin in a couple of weeks, and then a few weeks after that, the one and only Paul Hughes headlining PFL Belfast. There's a few fighters on that. What's the buzz like coming out of the gym at the minute?
Oh, it's busy. It's very, very good. Like everybody's buzzing. Everyone's hungry. All the young fighters coming through are seeing, obviously, the more established guys get their opportunities, and it's making them even hungrier too. So it's like it's such a great kind of feel and energy in the gym. It's very contagious and long may it last.
It definitely is contagious. I've been watching Paul Hughes vlogs and I can feel the energy coming off them alone. So I would say it's nice being stuck in there, bang in the middle of it. I'm lucky enough to be covering both of them events too, so really can't wait to see how all the guys get on. I want to start off breaking down this fight with Ian Garry and Carlos Prates by talking about the mentality of Ian Garry. He takes a short notice fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov, the boogeyman of the division, and now he's fighting down the rankings. He lost that fight against Shavkat, but his stock rose. But now he's fighting down the rankings, taking another short notice fight against someone in Carlos Prates, who is kind of like another boogeyman of the division. He's very, very dangerous. What about this mentality of Ian Garry?
Well, it's like he is the perfect company man, isn't he? He's the modern day Rich Franklin. It's just it's a credit to his own belief in terms of what he wants to do within the sport in terms of being active. He's not sitting on the shelf waiting for his opportunity. He's not crying about I should be fighting for the belt, right? Should be fighting X, Y, and Z. He is taking the opportunities as they come to him, and it's good because obviously the ASC know that, and hopefully he's getting paid in retrospect to for stepping up. But these, as you say, fighting these guys that nobody kind of wants to fight. And again, it's a great credit to his own belief and his own ability.
It is, for sure. He's got a serious set of swingers on him. I could say that there for free, stepping in there in late notice twice like this. I'm not sure if you've seen, but Carlos Prates smokes 5 to 10 or 10 to 15 cigarettes a day. And in the lead up to the fight and fight camp, he says he smokes 5 to 10. And though surely if this goes in the rounds 4 and 5, this has to affect his gas tank, or it has to affect him somehow.
Well, again, the way he fights, it's methodical. It's very a laboured pace, to be perfectly honest. And he fights at his own pace. And I think a lot of his opponents get lured in there. And I think every a really major factor in this fight will be the way that Ian can move and dictate the pace and can get it in there to them zones without being touched. I think that would be a big factor in this fight.
Both these guys are obviously both very high level strikers. But what kind of are the key differences? Obviously, the guys like myself that don't fight, they're both strikers that might look quite similar. But what are the differences? Is one of them more a pressure versus counter striker? Is it volume versus power?
Yeah, well, basically, you've hit the nail on the head. It's volume versus power. Obviously, the way Prates does is he kind of walks people down and grinds on them until eventually he gets maybe one good read where he can land a significant shot, that left hand or the left knee. And the thing that he has is a great killer instinct. As soon as he smells blood in the water, he is all over them, and then that's where he picks his pace up a wee bit from there. Up until then, he just kind of goes through the places himself. Where on the other side of the coin is Ian Garry's high energy in the zones, picking people apart, lots of volume, frustrating with his movement. He's not there to be hit, and people swing at another end.
Do you think Ian Garry will fight more on the back foot then and pick his punches a bit more like that?
Yes, I definitely think Ian, the smart decision, the way he be doing, is just kind of leading the dance almost and staying off obviously being a split stance, practice being a southpaw, staying away from that big left hand, the left knee, and just picking them apart. Now, the Ian Garry's main weapons are his jab lead head kick and his calf kicks. So it's going to be a little bit more harder to get them off against the southpaw. So I think he'll end up just doing lots of crocodile kicks and chopping down the lead leg, and always varying off to his left.
Will he be doing that to try and slow Prates down as such, chopping off the lead leg?
Yes, I think he's going to try and chop him down, slow him down, but almost frustrate him to making irrational decisions and rushing him and maybe drawing out that cross to get his own cross off, you know what I mean? But I think that if I was Ian Garry's coach, I'd be just saying, listen, stay disciplined, stay on your long-range weapons in the zones, don't hang around in the zone 2 where Prates can land them big, heavy left hand, left knees.
When you say zone 2, what does that mean? Can you break that down a wee bit?
Yes, well zone 1 is obviously in terms of wrestling, the clinch. Zone 2 is into the shorter weapons, the punches, the knees. And he outside in zone 3, where he can get the kicks, hitting the leg, crocodile kick, teeps, and then move off. So he's not in that kind of high impact zone.
That's interesting. I like the way that's broke down in these zones. Prates seems to have something that guys like Alex Pereira seem to have. He seems to be able to find the knockout blow without very little wind up. You know, there's no sort of torque in his hips or whatever. You can't see the punches coming. How does that happen? Is that down to raw power, or is it something technical that he does so different to other fighters?
I just think some people are obviously going to develop it to a certain extent, but I think some people just got that raw kind of power. You know what I mean? It's unexplainable. It's uncoachable. I just have it, and like we have a guy in the gym called Reese McKee, and he has the touch of death. Like he drops people with jabs, and like it's not.
Seen it last weekend.
Yeah. Like,
against Toronto.
Even if he him on a pad, it's not like he hits overly different than anyone else. He doesn't do anything different in terms of technical ability. It's just it's just in the heat of the moment, it's just raw power. And I think definitely Prates had that. And again, he has the killer instinct to go with that. It's all right being able to hit someone and hurt somebody. It's saying how do you finish them after it? And that's where he really has the ability.
It is interesting that there is, as you mentioned, Reese McKee. Obviously, of course, that was on full display last weekend or 2 weekends ago as he got the win in the UFC. It's just weird how some people does have it and some people don't. As you say, it can be coached, but these guys like Pereira, like Prates, like Reese, you know, with very little telegraph, they can knock guys out, and it's really a good thing to have in your arsenal, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. But the thing is with this type of shot is that you got to position yourself where the shot is available. And that's where Prates are running dead real problems in this fight, because I don't think that shot will be available too much.
Okay, yes, I know what you mean. Obviously, you mentioned there Ian Garry, he needs to control the dance. We talked about distant management, which Ian Garry is very, very good at. Carlos Prates is very good at sort of violently closing the distance, closing that space. He lands these big knees up the middle. I've never seen anyone land knees like it. They are completely dangerous and violent. What kind of things does Ian Garry need to do so that he doesn't get his back caught against the cage, so that he doesn't sort of allow Prates to pressure him? You mentioned the leg kick, which could frustrate him, which could slow him down, but is there any other wee pointers that he could throw in there to try and stop Prates from getting in that prime position where he can land that big knee up the middle against the cage?
Yeah, would you say exactly up against the cage? That's the key to, can Prates box him in? Can he stop his movement? Can he corner him and keep the directly in front of him? I think that is the big talent factor. Ian's lateral movement is so good. His essential awareness of where he is within the cage is so good that it's going to be hard to close down. I don't think that Prates has the cardio and the pace to stay with him. So I almost think he's going to try and beat him in it, in terms of he's going to try and let Ian come at him and then get the counter, because I don't think he'll be able to get it on the front foot, because he certainly won't be able to get Ian to stand still for them shots to be there.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to happen. Obviously, we've seen Ian Garry, he was kind of like a nomad before. I'm going to ask you your opinion on that in a minute, but he seems to have kind of found more of a base in shoot the box and his grappling. You can see it's come on a long way since doing that. We saw against the high-level striker and MVP, he decided to go down the grappling route, and he showed a great performance there, very, very dominant. Do you think there's much chance of him going down the same route here against Carlos Prates? We've seen Neil Magny try and grapple Carlos Prates and it didn't really work, but I think Neil Magny's in a different level, Ian Garry's in a different level than Neil Magny. Do you think that's a route that Ian Garry could maybe take?
Yes, so definitely right there. Like obviously I've seen Prates, he's lost a few by obviously submission. So again, that's another avenue that Ian can explore during a fight if he needs to. I don't think Ian will be going for takedowns the way Neil Magny did, shooting from long range and diving the legs. I think if Ian's going to do it, pressure him against the cage, put him up against the cage, wrestle him, look for the trips, and then get on top. Definitely that is a method of the victory for Ian. Outside of that, it's just literally just hit and move, be on his bike, and just win the rounds. Just win 5 rounds. That's all he has to do.
Yeah. Do you think it's a bit risky for Ian Garry to go out here and really look for a finish with someone as dangerous as Carlos Prates? Do you think it does become more of a point scoring match for him?
Oh, that's it all about. It's can Ian hold his discipline and accept that I just go out and win points and do lots of volume. And if the finish comes, it comes, but be happy just to win the rounds. If he goes in too eager to try and get a finish, and he'll buy into Prates' game plan, because then he'll be standing again, as I said, in zone 2, where the two of them can be dangerous, and Prates has got the big weapons in that zone.
Is it hard sometimes as a coach? Do you see it in fighters often where they are just killer be killed, and they really do go in there and do everything to get the finish, even though that's not strategically, that's not the best way to win the fight? Is it often that you kind of have to draw fighters back a wee bit and kind of take that killer instinct out of them a bit?
Yeah, well, not killer instinct. You gotta, it's discipline. You can have the killer instinct all you want, but the discipline, knowing when to go and when not to go, when you've got someone hurt, when they're not hurt, and that type of stuff. Or that, again, as we're talking about Reese the other week, that's what I had to really install in Reese, because it was all just like, listen, it's kill or be killed. Where it's not, it's about patience. It's about breaking people down. It's about what's kind of almost like doing the graft and the hard work, and eventually the finish will come. You know what I mean? But I think that the likes of Prates, he's just looking to lure Ian into the space to hit him. You know what I mean? He's looking to walk him on it. I think he get really frustrated. I think he'll fall short with a lot of shots where Ian will be there to be hit. And I think he'll almost invite Ian onto him, because then he's doing his job for him.
Surely if it does go into the 4th and 5th rounds as well, as I mentioned earlier, Carlos Prates, we haven't really seen what his gas tank's like, but if you're smoking 10 to 15 fags a day, there's no way his gas tank is going to be good enough to sort of produce a high volume in rounds 4 and 5.
Yeah, no, we've heard it the later rounds, and I'm sure Ian's coaches are telling him that, like, the longer this fight goes on, the more they're in your favour. And so you're no rush. Just be smart. He's going to be dangerous for the first few, but again, with power comes energy. So as the later rounds go on, then powerful shots will have less energy, and it means then that again he'll be less and less susceptible for the big left, which means maybe Ian might pick it up in the last round or two, and he might put him away. Yeah,
that's a good shout. Actually, that's a good shout. I just wanted to ask you your opinion on Ian Garry. Something that he's done brilliantly, has worked really, really well for him, is this kind of nomad style training. He hasn't stuck to one gym. He does seem to be doing it more with shoot the box, to be fair now. I think he's bought a house in Brazil and everything else. But is Ian Garry just extra special that he can train in this way? Do you think this is a good move for any fighter, or do you think Ian Garry's kind of standalone in that sense? Because there's positives at training all around the world with different teams and different coaches, but there's also a lot of negatives as well with it.
Yeah, no, I think it's just obviously his own dynamics. I don't know what his own personal circumstances are within the teams. Obviously, like we invite arms to go and travel and train. Like Paul would go to Kilcliff a few times a year off for different looks and different spars. But ultimately, no matter what you say about your training partners, you have to have people who care about you, and people who maybe tell you some things you don't want to hear. Some home truths, and sometimes even almost sometimes an ear that the band to talk about your personal feelings. I think when you've got that type of, as you say, you're going through different clubs, and people don't really invest too much in you, because you're here one day and you're away the next day. So it's hard. It is hard, I think, for him to schedule his own training camp around his own fights. And I think down the line, he would have to, personally, I would feel that he'd have to kind of settle on a club, because with that, then they become your proper development.
Yeah, it makes sense. Now, we're going to look at the keys to win. I want you to imagine you're cornering both of these fighters on Saturday night. We'll start off with Ian Garry. What kind of few pointers would you send him in there with to make sure that he comes out with the win?
Yeah, I would keep his left hand pretty busy by throwing his nice high kicks. So keep it glued to his chin, so he's a scared of foot in case the high kick's coming. So first thing is get rid of his straight left hand by throwing lots of high kicks. Again, chop down the inside calf and crocodile kicks. Win the lead hand with the jab over the top, and just be happy with the small work that he does. You know what I mean? Just these jabs, tapes, head kicks, and just move. Simple as that. Just keep on your bike, keep the cardio high, keep the pace high, and then as you see your opponent getting frustrated, loading up his left hand, draw it out, slip off, and then right hand, like almost like a reverse McGregor style.
Yes, yes. I hear you. Carlos Prates, if you're in his corner, what pointers are you giving him?
Well, yeah, if I ever had anyone fight Ian Garry, the thing is that he likes to dictate the pace, likes to dictate the range. So the most problems Ian has ever had is people rushing him, you know what I mean, blitzing him. So it's not Prates' style, the blitzing. That's why it really doesn't work for him here. If you look at the people who give Ian the problems throughout his career, and go back to his first UFC fight, there's people coming, stepping through with threes and fours at the end of the combinations, because he comes back with his chin a wee bit higher, you know what I mean? So you're not going to catch him the first, the second, maybe not the third, but the fourth, you might. And if you see the Jeff Neal fight in the third round, Jeff kind of went, just ain't going at him. And that's where he got the success, where he was committing his feet with his hands. I think that if I was Prates' coach, I'd be saying, you're going to have to come at him with blitzing styles, and with obviously trying to land the left hand, the left hook at the end of it.
I think we've seen that when MVP fought him as well, when it was on the feet, especially in that first round, for the little time it was on the feet. MVP was using that blitzing style that he always does, and it did sort of seem to catch Ian Garry unaware as well. It seemed like he didn't really know how to deal with it as such. We'll move on to the most important part, the coach's pick, the coach's prediction. This is your first time on the show. Hopefully we'll have you back on, but it'd be nice for you to start off with a 100% win rate. Who are you going for then, Shando?
You have your house on this. Ian Garry by decision. Have your house on.
I love it. I'll be putting my money there anyway. Big thank you to Shando for coming on, and good luck in the coming weeks as well. There's some big fights coming up for the gym.
Yep, all ahead here. It's all going now. It starts this weekend. We've got, I think, Tier night this weekend. It's only probably be announced later on the night. The Scotland Cage Warriors, and then the following weekend, 3 guys, Cage Warriors Dublin, and then 3 guys in FL Belfast. So busy times.
As a late notice one for Tiernan, is that like Glasgow this weekend he's getting the cup?
Yeah, this weekend in Glasgow, yeah. I don't think it's been announced yet, so we're just getting obviously all the medical stuff sorted the last few days. So yeah, it's just that Tiernan wants to be active. We asked for a release on his contract with LFL, and they're glad they know that they're not going to try and hold him back. And again, we'll just be looking for fights for it. And literally, he made a phone call to me and Pat last Thursday saying, please let me fight. We're like, that's all we need to hear.
He's got that dog in him to be taking a fight in such a big stage at Cage Warriors at short notice. But it's great to see it. I look forward to seeing that. Thank you very much for tuning in to Combat Sports UK and Coach's Corner. Shando's going for an Ian Garry decision. Let us know your predictions in the comments below. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one.